Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.
Greetings, brothers. Good evening. It's been a little while since we had a live stream. Missed last week. Missed last Saturday because Scotland had to beat Ireland at the football, and then as such Scotland got promoted into Group A, and I believe England got relegated to Group B. If anyone wasn't sure about that, you heard it here first. Scotland promoted, England relegated. But good evening, friends and fellow countrymen and 40k players. How are you, everybody, tonight? Christian, Drysu, Dracula, Danny, Carter, DTM, good evening. Good evening, players of another unnerfed faction. I mean, we need buffed DTM. We don't need unnerfed, we need buffed. I did enjoy my Power Sword Death Company last night, though, right? People have been running Power Sword Death Company for a little while. I'm behind the trend. I definitely enjoyed running them. They perform pretty decent, the Power Sword Death Company, to be honest. I'm gonna get some Mechanicus Standard Grey, I think. That's what I'm looking for. Blood Angels are tippity top of the Space Marines, or so people are saying. I mean, I guess we do better than some of the rest, sure. At kickoff, the office and semi-drunk but will attempt to get some minis. Good evening, Daniel. It's always good. Why are you at the office and semi-drunk? Those two things shouldn't be mixing, right? Or should they be mixing and I'm missing something? Prince Henry is about to reinstate Prima Noctra. I only know that because I've watched Braveheart recently. We can't actually say what Prima Noctra is on stream, Danny, or we'll get my stream shut off. White Scars are the top, says Miguel. I mean, maybe. White Scars don't seem to perform that high in many events, though. They do feel like they should be at the top, right? They get a lot of stuff like Advance and Charge and +1 on damage and stuff like that, but they don't seem to be placing that high at many events. Or is there events I don't know about? Where did Art of War rate White Scars? I just skimmed their video and tried to see where they rated Blood Angels, and they gave us a B, which I thought was okay. Some people recently had been saying Blood Angels was an A, but I kind of felt for a little while. I don't know if I feel like we're an A. We're fine into some enemies, but not that strong. I hope you know the real Zardoz, because it's a sci-fi movie featuring Sean Connery. Oh god. A sci-fi movie featuring Sean Connery? I remember Sean Connery in Highlander, but I'm pretty sure his name wasn't Zardoz in Highlander. What other sci-fi movies has he been in? Because the Sean Connery movie will be old one. I remember more Sean Connery as James Bond. White Scars were very low. Who knew the Imperial Fists are at the bottom? Imperial Fists have been at the bottom for a while though, right? Like, I've been saying for as long as I can remember this edition that bolt guns aren't strong, and Imperial Fist's whole chapter basically relies on bolt guns doing damage, so pity all the Imperial Fist players. They must have had a rough edition so far, especially waiting so long for a codex as well. Like, I feel like Blood Angels, we've had to wait, like, at this point, our last release is almost 2 years ago. At least we got a 9th edition release, right? Some factions, White Scars, Imperial Fists, Salamanders, Ultramarines, Iron Hands, these guys haven't even had their 9th edition. They haven't had anything 9th edition yet. So if I feel like we've been waiting a long time, those guys got screwed, basically. And that was my original criticism of the squats. It wasn't that I didn't like squats, it was that it seems unfair to be bringing in squats when you've still got people crying out for their first iteration of 9th edition rules. But squats got balanced today. We'll probably cover it like next week. I don't know if you guys saw that we just finished a video. We just finished one of our podcast episodes talking about Tyranids, but we'll probably cover squats in the next week or so now that they've had an FAQ. They got hit with pretty serious point drops. I guess if you want to see the point drops right away, you could go check out Auspic's Tactics or something like that. I noticed he covered it today. I won't cover it for a few days at least. Zardoz was released in the 70s. I'm drawing a blank. Zardoz, I don't know what movie it was. Does anyone know what movie it was? Bolt guns are on par with Nerf guns. Yeah, bolt guns are not strong this edition. I guess it's as simple as that. They're not strong, right? The only bolt guns that seem to be any decent are Angelus bolt guns. Or Angelus bolters, I guess. They're okay. Most of the rest seem kind of poor. Connery was an Outlander. It was an awesome space cop movie. Never even heard of Outland. Is that the movie? I'm surprised I've never heard of it, to be honest, but no, I've never heard of it. Broken on arrival? They said that the reason that they were a little bit broken was because they balanced them against Tyranids and Drukhari, and both those books were really, really strong. Or was it Tyranids and Aldari? Regardless, whoever they balanced them against was really strong. Carter coming out with a gifted membership already. Carter, you are a superstar. Thank you so much. Miguel, you got the gifted membership. That's awesome. Say thank you to Carter. Regular Intercessor Bolter is fine. 30 inches and AP 2 for 2 turns. Yeah, but who's sticking in Tactical Doctrine for 2 turns? Nobody. No Blood Angels player is sticking in Tactical Doctrine in turn 3, right? I mean, if they're fine, then why are White Scars sucking? Not White Scars, sorry, Imperial Fists. Like, if you think Bolters are good, then why are White Scars having such a hellish... keep saying White Scars. Why are Imperial Fists having such a hellish time? And why are they bottom of the pack? I think my problem with Doctrines is that, like, they only last like 1 or 2 turns, right? So like it's hard to build a force around Doctrines. In some ways, it's hard to build a Blood Angels force around Doctrines because you just want turn 3. You just don't want to do that much in turn 1 and 2. You want to just get to turn 3 so you can have your actual Doctrine that makes you strong. Because we're so much stronger with Assault Doctrine than we are without it. Like it's a huge buff. An extra AP, an extra attack, it's just huge. After all this time, Miguel is finally a member. Come join us in the members room in Discord then, Miguel. And you got Carter to thank. Thanks so much for that, Carter. It's really nice how people have started doing gifted subs. Yourself, Carter, and Highland Phoenix, and there's definitely a few other people who have done the gifted subs. It's awesome, thank you. It does support the channel as well, which I'm super grateful for too. Thank you so much. Every player, not Marine, not Blood Angels, stays in Tactical Doctrine for 2 turns. Well, I mean, I guess you could argue that, but then I would argue why are Imperial Fists bottom of the barrel if Doctrines are strong, right? I just don't necessarily think that Doctrines are all that strong, I guess. Don't know how else you would put it, right? I'm just going to start by covering all the white on these models. Skitarii is the same firepower for 9 points per model, whereas Imperial Fist would cost them 20 points. Hello Rezil, good evening. Salt is our bread and butter. It is indeed, and that's why I think the Sangre Priest is so good, because you really need to have the Priest to get to Salt Doctrine early. If you're not getting into Salt Doctrine early with a Priest, like, adaptive strategy is just... it's kind of become too expensive, I guess, with the with the change to CP cost, you know. I think anyway. Like I used to use adaptive strategy quite a bit before Nephilim. I haven't used it once since Nephilim. And that's usually how these things happen, is like a stratagem gets changed or something happens, or in this case Nephilim happened and everyone's got much less command points, so some of the more expensive stratagems basically they kind of get shut down just because people aren't willing to spend that much CP on them, I guess. There's 3D printing stuff allowed in the Discord modeling section. I feel like as long as you're not selling it, it's probably allowed. You might want to check with the mods. You could probably just ask in the channel if it's okay. I think as long as it's not like something that you're selling or you're linking. I think, yeah. So if you could 3D print something that's like you've made it yourself, but if you're like sending a link to, like, I think before we had someone who found like a custom Dante on like a third-party website, and you could 3D print the custom Dante, and then we were like, yeah, we just didn't want to risk any ramifications from Games Workshop or anything like that. That, you know, like Dante's their IP, so we don't want to mess with that. So I guess 3D printing is fine as long as it's not something that's being sold, and or it's not like infringing on Games Workshop's IP, because if it is, then that's kind of dodgy for us, so we kind of have to just say no. I kind of wonder if there will be more flexibility next edition. I think the doctrines do need to become more flexible. I think a small change to doctrines to make them more flexible could actually help Marines like a lot. Like if there was just, I don't know, like a 1 CP strat that just like says a bit like, you know how like Necrons have their protocols and stuff like that, where it's like, you know, before certain turns they can pick a protocol, etc, etc. I guess Admech kind of had that as well. I think something as simple as like before the battle round you can kind of like select your most important doctrine, or maybe not before the battle round, maybe just before the battle you can pick the doctrine that's most important to you, and you can get back to it whenever you want or something. I don't know. I think that could, I think a small change like that could actually help, like, really bring Marines, because doctrines make a big difference. You know, like you look at Iron Hands, they had a big bonus when they were in Heavy Doctrine. You look at Blood Angels, we obviously have a big bonus when we're in Assault Doctrine. So without those bonuses, I'd say without Savage Echoes, our units do probably like 30 or 40% less damage. Like, it's a big deal how much damage extra you get from the Assault Doctrine as Blood Angel player. Radial says, I think we should have to stop re-rolling for litanies. I mean, or just give the characters that make sense, like the Masters of Sanctity for the army, just give them the Wiserator. That would help a lot. Today a god has bled and has even apologised. Oh, you mean like the Games Workshop apology? Yeah, I mean, it must have been... Well, do you know what? The main thing, though, is that they reacted to it very quickly, which is great, right? And it seems like this edition, one thing that we have to say is that they are reacting to balance issues better than they ever have before, probably. So maybe it sucked. I guess it would kind of suck if you've already bought a bunch of Grot stuff. Not Grot stuff, sorry. Squat stuff. But in the same time, it might actually be quite a bit cheaper to get your 2,000 points, because you're not going to need as many models, because everything went up flying in points. I guess take that as a... I was going to say take that with a pinch of salt. That's either a good thing or a bad thing. Dante needs a bigger base. You know you can put him on a 32, right, Carter? You don't have to run him on the 25 he ships with. And if you don't have if you have him on a 25, I use these base extenders that you buy on like eBay. They cost like £3 for maybe like 10 of them. and they instantly make you able to use your old 25s on 32s. This guy that I'm painting actually has one on him, like look at it. So this is a base extender. So this guy is an old he's actually metal, this guy. He's a metal Death Company model. And you can see, you know, the bit in the middle here where he's got the old metal thing. So he was in a 25mm base. You just buy this thing on eBay, you just stick it in, so the base basically clips right in. At that point you can be done. I glue them in, I fill the small gap with green stuff, and then usually when I put a bunch of texture paint over the top of it, you can barely even see it. I've done a video on this. Yeah, he's legal on a 32mm base, 100%. 25mm is kind of too small for the model. He probably falls over, to be honest, does he? All those old characters on 25mm are allowed to be on 32mm, so this is the cheapest way you can do it. If you can't find them on eBay, ask me, because I know the seller. Because he does them from 25 to 32s, 25s to 40s, so you can do it with old metal Terminators, and I think he even does some other ones. So yeah, super handy to pick some of these up. No Marine should be on a 25. Yeah, even old Tactical Marines are technically supposed to now be on 32s. The only thing that would Marines have that has to be on a 25, I believe, would be Scouts. Everything else should be fine on 32s. If you have a few extra bases, yeah, you can just rip the bases off. The base extenders mean that if you have finished the models and they're fully painted, then it's easy to basically just clip them into the base extenders and then just be like, you could just play with them as is. You wouldn't need to actually do anything. You can spend a bit of time like I do and make them look right in the right bases, though. Your call. Just literally search 25mm to 32mm Blood Angels Commander on YouTube. You'll find the video that I made on how to do it. But yeah, I had well, this is a Firstborn Death Company. I had loads of old Firstborn Death Company that were on the old 25s. Hello, Mike. Good evening. The guy that was 3D printing these base extenders has made a killing, though, because if you look at his eBay shop, it said that he sold like 6,000 of them or something, and they're like $5 a time. So he's made like, I don't know, 10 or 20 grand just printing base extenders. People like me were like, yeah, I can't be bothered rebasing them, I'm just going to buy the base extenders, I guess. Good for him, I guess. You snooze, you lose in this life. Mike is actually Mike has a Twitch channel, so if anyone wants to check him out on Twitch, please just ask him what his channel is. Mike's building a gladiator for me, so Highland Phoenix will be very happy because we'll finally have a gladiator. I don't know if the Gladiator is going to get into the list, Mike, because the Storm Speeder was pretty cool last night. I quite enjoyed the Storm Speeder, actually. It kind of exceeded my expectations, I think. I'm sure the Gladiator will, I mean, I'll test it. I'm sure I'll test it. I'll play with it, but I was really pleased at... I'm going to run the Storm Speeder a few more times, but if it can continue to do what it did last night... 10 32mm bases are £4. Yeah, so I mean, I guess it'll be cheaper if you just buy the bases straight from Games Workshop, but the base extenders are kind of they're if the models are already painted or they're already made and they're already on their base, and you don't want to hang with that, just pay a few more bucks. You should troll Mr. Phoenix, put the model on the table, then grab a hammer from off screen and smash it. Okay, DTM, you want to pay me $100 to smash a gladiator on stream? Sure. That would really I mean, I don't know if I could bring myself to smash it, especially if all the time and energy had been put into painting it. That would just be tragic. So just before I got on stream, me and my wife watched the new episode of Andor, which is that new Star Wars show on Disney Plus with the guy from the Rogue One movie, and I kind of think it's going to be great. I'm like, it's 4 episodes in now because they released 3 last week and like 1 this week. And I don't know. I don't know if I was that into it last week. I'm not going to say any spoilers or anything like that, but like, I'm fully invested now. I'm ready for this show, which is nice because most of the new Star Wars shows on Disney have been a bit all over the place. If someone pays me £200, I will finish John's Gladiator when I finish it. Oh, I get you, Mike. You'll finish it to only finish it. Yeah. I've never smashed a completed Warhammer model. I put too much time into painting them, I guess. I've dropped one, and you know that horrible moment when you drop it and you're like on the floor looking for it. You're like, oh my god, is it in one piece? That's like the worst feeling in the world. I also think, like, seeing my day-to-day life, I would rarely ever drop anything, but then when you've got like a tiny little delicate Warhammer model, even more so when it's a metal model, you just feel like you're just gonna drop it. I dropped my bike captain a few weeks ago when I was packing to go out, and like a bit broke off of them, and I didn't realise it until like I was playing a game with them, and I was like, oh my god, there's a bit missing on my bike captain. Is it broken off on the table? Had a look around after the game and thought like, fuck, it's broken off and I don't have any idea where it was. And it was like 24 hours later, I was just like looking at him going like, god damn it, how's this character broken? And then I just had this remembrance that I dropped him in my house. I was like, oh my god, yeah, I did drop him. And then I went back and like, sure as day, the bit that had broken off was just lying right in the middle of the floor. I was like, well, that was lucky. Apparently, the Cyberpunk show on Netflix, I haven't watched it, Jacob, but apparently loads of people are watching that, are playing Cyberpunk now. It's like one of the most played games on Steam since watching that show. Rizio says he's heard that source that Andor is the best Star Wars show they have made, however the same sources mostly hate the rest. Yeah, I hate most of the rest. I didn't hate Mandalorian, I didn't hate Boba Fett, and I didn't hate Rogue One. But I guess it's just that new trilogy. I hated all 3 of those movies. I broke one of my death company, says Drysu, last week. I know how you feel. It's the worst feeling, isn't it? It's even worse if you've like varnished them and all sorts, and you drop them. It's the worst feeling in the world. DTM says, I haven't watched Star Wars in years. I basically absorb its general level of quality through Drinker. What the hell is Drinker? I missed the death of the Eliminator squad against Brett. Did they die at the beginning of the battle? Yeah, I used the Eliminators to screen my other units because I figured he was going to make a turn 2 charge. I kind of knew he was going to make a turn 2 charge. That's why I saved like 5 CP. I didn't spend any CP early because every time I play Brett, he'll move forward for 1 turn, then call his wag. I mean, it's kind of predictable move that if you're playing an orc player, they're not going to call the wag turn 1. They're probably going to call it in turn 2. So yeah, the charge he made was into Eliminators, but I mean, I was kind of if he's gonna have to kill the Eliminators, and it means like my Sanguinary Guard and my Death Company are totally fine behind them because the Eliminators have screened them. I'm kind of okay with that. Steve says well, I'm trying to find a new commission painter at the moment, Steve. So and I think we're gonna be good. So I'll let you know. But for now, I think I'm good because I enjoy painting myself. Like, I really actually do enjoy painting. It's just with the 2 kids and obviously, you know, the 9-to-5 job and then the YouTube videos, it's hard to paint as much as I would like to get painted. So like, it's not like I don't want to paint. I enjoy doing it. I really take pride in finishing models as well. But you know, and I'm not like a procrastinator. Like, I'll set time aside and I will always paint. It just I'm not painting as much as I feel like I can get done. You know, before I had kids, I'd paint 20 hours every week. Since I had kids, I'm lucky if I paint 4 hours every week. So yeah, just gonna occasionally do the odd commission because when you only paint 4 hours a week, it's kind of hard to. Or whenever I have time off work, though, Steve, I always paint heaps. That was the last time I had time off work. I painted that. I did that one Sanguinary Guard in a day for the video I did, like my Battle Ready Sanguinary Guard. I painted him from start to finish in a single day. It took me like 8 hours. Yes, that probably is like a long time for the quality that I achieve, but you know, I'll put something on in the background and I'll just paint away and I'll just enjoy myself. So the only reason I commission stuff is because, like I said, I don't get as much time or I don't get as much done as I would like to get done. Is Moraria dead in the lore now? He was a badass dreadnought. Or is it Moirar? I'm not entirely sure how you say his name, Carter. He was our Death Company dreadnought from like 4th edition, right? Unfortunately, that was the last edition I played until 8th. I moved away from home. I had some family stuff going on for like whatever that was, like 6 to 8 years. So I don't actually know what happened to him. I think they just wrote him out of the lore. Moriar? Yeah, I don't know if there was a story behind him disappearing or what. DTM says commissions are tricky because I notice a difference between their work and my own. The last commission painter I had, DTM, I sort of asked them to go. I don't ask them to finish the model. I ask them to do like 90%, and then when I get them, like I would tell them like I don't want any transfers on it. I don't want it varnished. This is the colors I use, and this is the standard I use. And when I get it, if it doesn't quite match 100%, I'll touch it up so it matches. You're never going to get 100% when you do it that way, but I think you would get it good enough that like. If someone was looking at it, unless you told them it was painted by a different person, they wouldn't know, right? And I don't mind doing that. It's my own OCD, or it's my own, you know. If I wasn't happy with like the commissions that I did, I wouldn't do it. You know, it's just how long it takes. It is how long it takes, I guess. Once my kids are older and I can go back to spending, I probably won't ever spend 20 hours painting a week again, but maybe 10 would be nice. 10 seems like a nice goal. Good evening, Steel Rain. Danny's painted over 20k points of Dark Angels. I'm kind of burnt out. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you can get burnt out, I suppose. I always find if I was feeling burnt out, the trick is to just set a time each week and just get your paints out and just sit down and start painting, and don't let the fact that you've burned, because usually once you get into the flow of it, I always find that I can just get going. So, but yeah, so if any of you guys were on the fence about Andor, I don't know if it's good yet. I only watched 4 episodes, but seems like it's going to be a good Star Wars show. Rogue One was the one movie that they made recently that felt like the original movies for me, right? Because it was based on that sort of 1970s Star Wars, which is what I grew up on. So maybe Andor is going to be the same. It's going to feel like it was, you know, a bit more like 1970s Star Wars as opposed to reinvented Disney Star Wars, and as such it will be quite good. I don't know. Reaper of Anarchy, good evening. DTM says that's a great idea. Yeah, I mean that's what I do in, like, I've even had a commission painter just do base colors for me before, DTM. If it was like shitloads of models and I was like, right, it's going to take me like 20-25 hours to just do the base colors, so if you just told the commission guy, like, this is what I want, I'm just wanting base colors, I don't want you to go too deep on it because I want them to match, and then just, you know, get them from the commission artist and then just have to do the detail on top. If they've already done all your base colors and they've matched all your color scheme, then you're golden, right? Or you could be less picky, like other people I'm sure are less picky, and just get the commission artists to do great jobs and then just roll with it because you're not a picky bastard like I am, I guess. That would work too, right? I stopped subbing to Disney, says Reziel. Well, I don't have the choice of stopping subbing to Disney because I have a 3-year-old and she loves Disney. I think if we unsubbed to Disney, there would be the biggest tantrum ever in our house, and you would hear it wherever the hell you are in America, Reziel. Because there would be so much screaming. Kevin says, evening everyone, trying to weather the storm here in the coast of the South Carolina. Hopefully it won't get us too bad. Kevin, I hope you're safe, man. I saw some of I saw the storm on the news this morning, like they were reporting on it over here in the UK, and my Google kept popping up like weather alerts or weather warnings for Florida like all day, I guess because I've been to Florida once before, I guess it must know I've been there. So it's popping up all these weather warnings, and it looked scary. So they didn't mention any loss of life yet. So hopefully hopefully there's not really been that much loss of life. But the water level looked crazy high in some of the areas that I think it's called, like, was it Fort Dallas or some little town on the west coast of Florida looked like it was getting battered. Yeah, those hurricanes are no joke. So yeah, I don't know what you're gonna do to stay safe, Kevin, but hopefully you're all good. Did I miss someone else's comment? Sorry. Marcus ripped the entire length of his pants when he bent over to pick up the dice, but he won the game, so it's all good. Well, just fortunately they had duct tape, Marcus, because that sounds like that was the real victor here on that day. Sometimes jeans can just get old and they can just rip, right? I'm sure everybody's carrying a few extra pounds these days. We were stuck inside for like 18 months of COVID, right? Wasn't that much you could do. In fact, for like 6 months in Scotland, you weren't even allowed to go outside except for 30 minutes a day. That was it. You were allowed out once a day for 30 minutes, and that's all you were allowed to do. Pretty crazy, actually. People were pretty upset about that, to be honest. Everywhere you go, you bring duct tape in your back pocket now. I mean, it sounds like you're taking it a little bit too far. But I mean, I guess if a man's gonna do what a man's gonna do, I suppose. So tell me in chat, has anyone else been running these Power Sword Death Company with or without some Infernal Pistols? Because I actually really liked the Power Sword Death Company this week. I won one squad with 5 Power Swords, and I thought to myself, feels like it's a really good squad. This is the best song you stream. Downset, is that what the song's called? I mean, if you want the song, is it that good? It's royalty free music. I'm sure I can share it to you. You can download it. I mean, I kind of do like this song actually. Maybe I need to have it as like one of the intro videos for a live game or something. You know, I've not painted Death Company. The song is called Hackerman, yeah, 100%. I have not painted Death Company before these guys in ages, I feel like. Steel Rain is saying that I stole his Power Sword Death Company idea. Yes, I guess I probably did, Steel Rain. Thank you for telling me about it. It's nice, isn't it? They helped me kill Gazgul last night. Like, they really helped. Well, I mean, I wouldn't have killed Gazgul without the Power Sword Death Company. They chopped him up for, I think they did the full 4 wounds to him. As many as you can do in the phase, right? Carter's running Power Swords and Hammers, no chains at all. Yeah, I ran one squad with 3 hammers, which is a drop from the normal 4, but put 2 Infernal Pistols in it. And then the other squad I ran 5 Power Swords and 3 Infernal Pistols. And I think, well, I'm going to run both squads the same loadout again because they both really performed. Having that couple of Infernal Pistols or 3 in one squad is pretty tasty. And yeah, I mean the Power Swords, the big AP on the Power Swords is no joke. So they're -4 if you're in the Assault Doctrine, which makes them a real eligible target for Forlorn Fury, which can kind of end up giving you 2 different potential Forlorn Fury targets, or yeah, 2 different Forlorn Fury targets, I guess. Or 2 different squads you could use Forlorn Fury on, which can keep your opponent guessing, which is quite nice as well, I find. So, good evening, Anton. The Storm Speeder last night in turn 1 killed a few orcs, I think. And did 3 wounds to Gaskell with a missile. I think in turn 2 I just shot at all more orcs on an objective and just whittled them down, so it probably killed like another 3 or 4 orcs. In turn 3 it had to fall back and it killed 2 of his... I had to pay 1 CP because I wanted to fall back and shoot it, but I fell back and shooted it and killed 2 of the Boar Riders, I think it was. And then turn 4, I mean, I think I just shot it at like 2 different his vehicles, his like jet, and it was the jet and the truck, and I did some damage to both. I didn't kill either of them. And then turn 5 I just killed like, I think I killed his weird boy and like maybe some orcs. So I mean, the Storm Speeder probably got, I don't know, at least killed double the points it cost, I would say. And possibly a bit more. I mean, I did play it very defensively, but when you've got a giant orc army running that you know is going to run straight at you and call a wag, then it kind of makes sense to play defensively, right? I mean, that's his only tactic, is to get on top of you with his wag and try and do as much damage as he can, and that's why I had saved 5 CP. So on the turn he called the wag, I was like, I'm going to Overwatch, I'm going to reroll an Overwatch, I'm going to potentially Angel Sacrifice, I'm going to be potentially counter-offensive. So I'm going to use all my CP in that turn to try and mitigate as much damage as possible, because if I can get through turn 2, or I can get through his wag turn pretty unscathed, then I can kind of just win the game from there, and that's exactly what happened. Don't hit me, but I prefer Mephiston or Librarian Dreadnought over Astaroth, as do I, Zardoz, but I'm going to run Astaroth a few more times, because apparently a lot of people in my community feel that Astaroth is way better than Mephiston. And I think that's just personal preference. I think they both do similar things to a certain extent, so I guess it just depends on if you want to be more offensive, probably Astaroth. If you want to be more defensive, maybe Mephiston. I am a defensive player. Reaper of Anarchy is about to assemble his first Sanguinary Guard. Do you have any recommendations for the weapons? Yes, and also you really should do magnets on them, dude, because they keep changing. They keep changing what's good. Right now, swords are better than axes, but 6 months ago, axes were better than swords. I've done a few here with magnets on the sword arms or the axe arms, so that I can switch them out. I really would recommend that you think about getting some magnets. I did a video on how to put the magnets on them as well. It's super. It's well worth it, because otherwise, like me, you'll be painting Sanguinary Guard for the next 2 years because they keep changing what's good. Good evening, Douglas. How you doing? It's live. We're just hanging out. I don't know if you've missed too much at all. The bolters are mainly fine on the Sanguinary Guard as well, but it isn't the end of the world if you want to put some Infernal Pistols in. The way I'm playing them at the moment is I tend to start one squad on the table with like 80% bolters, 20% Infernal Pistols, and then the other squad that are in reserve just are all bolters, because you're not going to get the same value out of the pistols if they're in reserve. That's my thought behind it. But yeah, if you search like magnetizing Sanguinary Guard Blood Angels Commander, I'm sure you'll find a video where I show you how to do it, and I've done a few videos on Sanguinary Guard. But yeah, also did a battle ready painting video on them, and I think in the battle ready painting video I did a magnetized one. And yeah, paying a few bucks for magnets now is going to probably save you. It's going to save you a lot of time, and it's also going to save you a lot of money in the future, because it seems like every edition or every couple of months, different weapons are better. But yeah, there was definitely a time at the start of 9th edition where axes were by far superior, but now it's definitely the swords. The ladies are here, says Turkey. Those bots, I always surprised by these bots that come into these streams. Like, does anyone ever actually click on any of these links? You know, like, and also, who's wasting their time writing these bots? Like, oh wait. Is the balanced data slate tomorrow? I have no idea. It's my birthday tomorrow. So if it is a balanced data slate tomorrow, it better be good. What makes you think it's tomorrow? I mean, they did the squat data slate today, but or more like a. I was gonna say, is it more like an FAQ? But I guess it was an FAQ. Mainly points drops, drops increases. Redemptors with Tech Marine support are dying very slow. Redemptors are arguably one of our most survivable units because of the -1 damage, right? I wish that we... Do you know what? I was thinking about this actually after using the Storm Speeder, right? So this Storm Speeder is like 145 points, and it gets 2 shots with a 36-inch strength 8 -3 3 damage missile. And I was actually kind of saying that, like, even though it's just 2 shots and I don't have a Tech Marine or anything buffing it, fact that it's 3 damage and 36 inches actually felt pretty nice, which is like the main problem that I have with the Redemptors are like the D6 from the plasma cannons, right? And we said it on stream last night, and right after I said it, we proved it. Oh, that's my daughter up. 1 second, I'm just gonna have to settle her. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Your birthday's tomorrow, mine too. Evening, Jimmy. How you doing? Yeah, I was saying the Storm Speeder's the 3 damage rocket at 36 inches is like, it kind of made me like it. I was kind of comparing it to my Redemptor because I was like, you know what, the Redemptor. Because the Redemptor gets D6 shots, it makes it feel really unreliable. Whereas like the Storm Speeder getting 2 shots at flat 3 damage and then being able to zoom within 12 inches to get another 3 shots at minimum 3 damage, maximum 8, actually like felt really good. And obviously I only played it 1 time, so I can't really draw conclusions after 1 game. But for 145 points, I was like, it did a lot better than I expected it to do. And Brett shot it with this big plane and he did like no damage to it as well. We're Libros, yes we are indeed. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Any Flesh Tearers players in the chat? I wish Blood Angels Commander would talk about them more. Alright Matthew, let's talk Flesh Tearers. What do you want to talk about? What needs to be said? Loads of birthday messages. Douglas, Dracula, thank you so much guys. Yes, I'm going to be old man tomorrow. Stephen says Astaroth and Mep are equals. Different but equal. I couldn't agree more, Stephen. I think Astaroth Astaroth seems to be a more common pick. He also seems to be a more offensive pick. Maybe Mephiston is just a more defensive pick. But I do think that they both bring similar strength to the army, just slightly different ways. And I think that's just going to be on personal preference and also playstyle. And that'll probably swing again, because like I said on stream last night, in 8th edition I used Astaroth like every single game. And then 9th edition he kind of fell away from me a bit. Do you know what, he only fell away because at one point in 9th edition Astaroth was 110 points. I don't know if you guys remember that right at the start of the edition. And I used him all the time at 110 points. I think if he was 110 points now, I would run him in every single list. There's still little stuff out there on Flesh Tearers. Yeah, I mean there is. No one is specifically covering Flesh Tearers, Matthew, but like it's pretty broad video. It's pretty broad topic to just say make a video on Flesh Tearers. Like, what's your what's your question? Like, I can answer questions. I can make videos on questions, but like just make a video on Flesh Tearers, I guess is like, what are you struggling with? What you want to know? You want to know what I would recommend in like what situation? Like, break it down for me, and I can answer a question just now, obviously, or I can make videos on them too. I've done ones before. I've definitely done video on Flesh Tearer before, right? Redemptors can do so much more. Yeah, you're right. The fist on Redemptors is really, really nice, isn't it? The problem, I suppose, with the Redemptor and the fist is, like, quite often your Redemptors are going to get killed in the shooting phase, right? I mean, against some armies, they're not. If you're relying on your Redemptor to do shooting, I feel like you pick a Redemptor for shooting, and then the melee is a secondary thing. Like, if you can get in melee, it's great. Like, don't get me wrong, it's great. It's a D3+3, it's brilliant. But, like, I definitely feel like you don't pick the Redemptor for melee first. Because if you're going to pick for melee first, wouldn't you just pick Sanguinary Guard or something, right? I used the triple shot Melta one. Yes, I forget what that one's called. Is it the Hammer Strike? It's the one with the Melta Destroyer, the 3-shot missiles, and the Crack Storm grenade launcher, which is just basically an 18-inch crack grenade. Kevin really likes his Librarian Dreadnought. I mean, I used to run my Librarian Dreadnought all the time. I think they're a good unit. Depends on what you want them to do, Kevin. Flesh Terror unit list, mission, secondary, stratagems, just a bit of overall deep dive. It's like playing Blood Angels on hard mode. It is very different, I suppose. Deep dive on Flesh Terrors. Alright, well, I mean, I'll think about it. I feel like Flesh Terrors are more Alpha Strike than Blood Angels. Like, you need to be going, like, super Alpha Strike. Like, drop pods, Terrax drills, Company Champion with Seth and some Death Company inside a drop pod or a Terrax. And cursors, maybe even some what the hell are they called? In tactical warsuits. You need me to tell you everything to win games? I mean, yeah, it's not that easy, I'm afraid. I mean, Flesh Terrors just generally go much more Alpha Strike than Blood Angels. If you look at the top Flesh Terrors list, that's because you need to Alpha Strike Seth. He's like your best character, and he's not mobile. So you need a Terrax or you need a drop pod because you need to deliver Seth. And whatever you deliver Seth with, you probably want to back him up with as many tools as possible. And that's probably why you see like a Company Champion backing up Seth. That's what I think is the best way to run the Flesh Terrors, I think. Hey Mike, thanks so much for Mike, drop your Twitch link into the members room, or drop your Twitch link somewhere in Discord, because you are Mike's doing a commission on me for this Gladiator. So if anyone wants to follow Mike, he was streaming earlier. I'm sure he's going to be streaming again in the next couple of days. Drop your Twitch link in, it's fine. Anyone that wants to follow him, that's more than welcome. Mike actually entered a painting competition on the channel a while back. I don't think he won, but I'm sure his entry was on like the shortlist for like the final. I think we had a shortlist of like the top 20, maybe it wasn't as many as 20, like maybe it was top 15 models or something. Yeah, I think that was it, the top 15. I'm pretty sure his entry was in the top 15. Thoughts on Relic Terminators, worth the pickup? I would love to get a box of Relic Terminators. I think now that they're the Horus Heresy version of them are out, and you can get them for like, you can get them so cheap in terms of money compared to Firstborn Terminators. I think Firstborn Terminators you're like $40 for 5, Relics you're like $50 for 10. So like they're a great deal if you buy the Horus Heresy ones. And they're kind of the cheapest Terminators we can field on the tabletop, right? And like, I think they're good with chain fists. I also like how they can take lightning claws, because the other Terminators can't take lightning claws and guns. It's kind of like lightning claws or guns. So I like Relic Terminators. I rate Terminators pretty highly, actually. Possibly higher than some other Blood Angels players, but I took Terminators to like a couple of top tables in bigger events, and very closely to winning one of those events, actually. So yeah, I don't have a problem at all with Relic Terminators. I wouldn't run more than 5 in a list. So while I'm telling you can get 10 super cheap, but I guess you would either... There wouldn't be that much point in buying 10, I guess, in terms of like competitive play, but for the price... Henry's got some Centurions, ideas for paint schemes. Also Devastator Centurions as fire support. Devastator Centurions are trash. They're not core, so they don't work in Blood Angels, because you're going to need rerolls. I can show you my Centurions, Henry, or I can show you my Centurion Sergeant or something if you want. But like, I mean, my color scheme is pretty standard Blood Angel style color scheme. I just use Evil Sun Scarlet rather than Mephiston Red, because way back when I started painting Blood Angels, Mephiston Red wasn't the color you used back then. It was actually a paint called Blood Red, which got basically discontinued. And Blood Red is somewhere between, I think, Evil Sun Scarlet and Mephiston Red. I got to the top table twice, DTM. Funny story, I've made YouTube videos on both those tournaments, so you could watch them if you want. The Relic Terminator squads are definitely decent all-rounders, mixed with Chain Fists and the Lightning Claws. Yeah, I would put the Chain Fist on the Sergeant to make the most of that extra attack. But yeah, I like the Relic Terminators. I would run them. They were on my shopping list along with the Gladiator tank and the Storm Speeder. So I've got both of them on the way now. So maybe in a little while's time we'll do some relics. I got Firstborn Terminators, which are very similar, I guess, and I had a bunch with Power Fists, and I ripped the Power Fists off and made them again with Chain Fists. And they're the ones that I took to the tournament. So I've got a bunch of Firstborn with like teleport homers and stuff that I kind of need to finish as well. They were good enough to be tournament ready. Like, they had 3 colors on them and everything, but I wasn't quite pleased or finished with them. Tartus versus Cataphracti. I mean, that's an irrelevant argument, right? There's no such thing anymore. Well, there's no such thing within 40k. Maybe there still is in the Horus Heresy, I don't know. Would you ever need 15 Assault Intercessors? Do you think it should magnetize 5 to use Vanguard Veterans or Death Company? I painted 10 Assault Intercessors and I never run more than 5. I just think Incursors / Infiltrators are much better troop choices. Will I probably ever run more than 5? No. Will I sell these extra 5 I've got painted? Probably no. So I'd say you're probably only ever going to need 5. You could do what I did and make 10, but yeah, I don't think you'll ever need more than 5 Assault Intercessors. No, unless they change it so they can get jump packs or something, which could actually happen though. My Blood Angel's done corn red, but I wanted to do some cool highlight pieces. Okay, I mean, I don't know how mine look. That was my Centurion captain. I feel so sad, actually, that I had these Centurions before anybody else was using Blood Angel Centurions. Literally no one else was using them. And I had these 3 guys, and now it's become... The meta is now literally 5 Centurions, and I don't run Centurions anymore, and I've not bought 3 more. These guys took me ages to do, man. They're giant, right? They're almost like mini dreadnoughts. But you know, maybe I should have doubled down on them, because when I was running my 3 Centurions, that was like right near the start of 9th. I had a list that won 14 games in a row on stream, and I guess that's not that big a deal, right? Like, I only play like my friends on stream, but I've never won 14 games in a row on stream before, and I'm probably never going to do it again. I mean, maybe I'll do it again, I don't know. But I'd won 14 games in a row on stream with this list that was like 3 attack bikes, 3 Centurions, Selfless Healer, and it was just a really fun / powerful list, and maybe I should have just been like, it's the Centurions! Run 5, but apparently Stephen Box figured that out before me and ran it. God damn it. I have 10 Death Company Intercessors already, so I don't need more. I think you're right about needing more than never needing more than 5. Yeah, I mean, I bought 3 copies. Well, I didn't buy 3 copies. I bought my copy of Indomitus and swapped all the Necrons with a Necron player. So I got like 2 sets of the Marine stuff out of Indomitus. And then I got another copy. I didn't buy the 3rd copy, so I think maybe I had a friend that was Necrons who just gave me the Marines out of their box because they didn't care for them, or I definitely so I have like on sprue like 30 Assault Intercessors in a box. And I was kind of sitting on them thinking like maybe Death Company Intercessors will become good. / maybe we'll be able to make Death Company Intercessors with jump packs. But yeah, I painted the original 10 that I got in my box, and then I think I have 30 on sprue, and I'm just sitting on them now. At this point, I've been sitting on them for about 2 years, I suppose. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't do more than 10. Miguel says you can have 14 wins in a row again. And Clint said that the Grot podcast was very good today. Clint, thank you so much for that. Sometimes when we're looking at other armies, we're not always the most knowledgeable, but it's nice that some of you guys appreciate the podcast and enjoy what we do. We do try our best, and I probably get a little bit over animated about some of the competitive stuff, but like, yeah, I was trying to say to Tony and Mark, I either play just for fun or I go full competitive. There's very little in between for me. And sometimes even when I am playing just for fun, that competitive streak sort of wins over, and it's like a good example will be like, I will never give up. If we're in turn 4 or something and I have 1 Marine left and I can get like 1 more victory point, then I'm playing on. I'm not giving up. DTM, thanks for hanging out tonight, and thanks for correcting us on the rules as always last night. Much appreciated. I always do appreciate you coming into the streams and keeping us right. Robert White says, still got a spare Judas CR you can sell. I probably do have a spare Judas CR, Robert White. Can you message me on Discord? If I've got it, I'll give you... I mean, do they not sell... Do they sell the Judas CR on GamesWorkshop.com, or do they just not sell it yet? Or you can only get it in like a big bundle? It would be interesting to see how well your 1-year-old list would do, maybe with a little more Sandguard, because the refresh. Do you know what? I could find that list again. I don't know if too many of the points had changed that would break it now. Zordos. I think it was a double. Was it a double Redemptor? Nah, I don't think it could afford to be double Redemptor with Centurions. I also wanted to try Aggressors, because I've got 6 Aggressors. And I thought they were really good in 8. I thought I might run 5 Aggressors for a bit of fun, see how they get on. Mike says, after saying Fury the Lost is trash, I started 7-man Death Company. I started liking the 7-man Death Company as a screen. Robert says you can only get the Judiciary and the Heroes of the Chapter bundle for £90. I hate how they do. Like, I try to be very non-critical of Games Workshop in terms of, like, you know, it's their business. Everything, you know, like, like the whole thing about my channel is like I try and make this like a positive hobby space. But sometimes I do hate. The two things that I hate are like the FOMO boxes, which I wasn't really familiar with, but that's what people call them. It's fear of missing out. So it's those boxes that are only available for a very short time. And like, as a parent with real life commitments and stuff, I hate fear of missing out boxes, because like sometimes, you know, sometimes people just don't have the money to buy a box at that point in time, and if you don't have the money to buy that box in time, I don't think you should be punished for that. Football teams do that as well. You know, they'll do like, hey, we're selling this football strip for these 2 weeks and these 2 weeks only, and I'm like, well, that's fucking great, but like, I've already budgeted this month, and I don't have money to buy a football strip this month, right? And it's that like, I hate that. So I that's one thing that I very much dislike, is how like certain kits are only available in giant boxes where you get a bunch of shit that you don't want. I mean, technically you could go onto eBay and sell it, but like, it comes like, the thing with the Horus Heresy that seems really positive, and I'm really pleased for, is how they've done those weapon options now. You know, where it's like you would get a box with just extra weapon loadouts or something. Because like, when I needed all these Thunder Hammers and stuff, or when I need, like, I'm at the point now where I have no more Incarmite or Power Swords, because obviously swords are best right now. I've just made this Death Company squad that I'm literally painting at the moment, and these guys were pretty much all made with Power Swords. And recently I made a bunch more Sanguinary Guard. I showed them on stream earlier as well, where they're all magnetized, and they're all with like swords as well. So I'm at the point now where I have no swords. I think none at all. You don't get enough swords in the Sanguinary Guard box, and like, you do get some swords in some of their kits, but they're not always super interchangeable. So I'm at the point where I've got no swords now. So if something came out tomorrow, let's say, I don't know, those Primaris Death Company get some new rules, they get jump packs, and they can all take Power Swords. The only way I'm getting Power Swords is either buying multiple kits that's got swords, or going on eBay and paying stupid money. Like, on eBay you'll be like £5 per sword, right? Like, ain't nobody got enough money to buy 5... If you're buying 5 Power Swords at £5 a sword, is that not just... You may as well just go on and buy another whole box of the kit that's got 5 swords in it, because it's going to be the same cost. So that's something that I would really like them to do better at. It's about my only real criticism. I've said before, I think the balance in this edition has been much better, it's been much quicker. I think the 9th edition is probably the best edition in terms of competitive play as well. So like, they're doing so many good things, but like, that's my biggest gripe at the moment. Fear of missing out. I mean, the fear of missing out boxes sell though. That's just the reality of the situation, is like, you know, people are gonna buy. It's kind of like early access for a video game, right? Like, when you get a video game on early access, and I actually don't buy that many video games these days. I definitely don't buy any early access video games these days, but so I was probably getting out of video games about the same time early access started happening. I couldn't tell you if I've actually ever bought a video game on early access. Do you know what? Maybe I bought one, maybe I bought DayZ. And I don't know if you guys ever played DayZ, but if you bought the early access of DayZ, it was a fucking disaster. There was nothing to do. You just run around in a big empty map. There was no guns, there was nothing. It was just like there's a simulator where you did nothing except you eventually found someone that had a gun and they killed you, and that was it. So I haven't actually bought that many, whatever you call early access video games, but it's the same sort of thing, I feel like, where like I'm sure video games sell in early access, but like quite often it's just a marketing thing, isn't it? And I guess that's what those fear of missing out boxes are. But yeah, the Judiciar that you're mentioning, Robert, yeah, hit me up. We'll see. I'll see. I'm pretty sure I've got one. I may actually, yeah. I was gonna say I may actually have two. I might. Do you know what? I think I maybe converted one into. Or maybe it was the Blade Guard Ancient I converted. I definitely converted some of those characters into. I made a Primaris Apothecary. John says that Votan news today was positive at least. It sounds like Votan might be a bit more sane now. How do you feel about the Relic Blade for our captains? I mean, I think it's good, Zardoz, but unfortunately, I ran a captain on a bike and he can't take a Relic Blade. But I think if you're running a jump captain with a jump pack, I think a Relic Blade is a great choice. I think if you mastercraft the Relic Blade, if you've got a spare CP and you don't feel like you need it, then it's technically better than a Thunderhammer, right? Well, I mean, I guess it would be one less strength than a Thunderhammer, but it would have more EP and the same damage and no -1 to hit. So yeah, I think it probably is better than a Thunderhammer at that point. Jimmy says I can send you some Sanguinary Guard swords if you want. Well, maybe let me. I was gonna say, hit me up on Discord, Jimmy, and maybe we can do a deal. If there's a, you know, because I have shitloads of Blood Angels parts, so maybe you could. I'd rather trade you than just take something off your hands, but that's very kind of you. We know the GW changes rules to sell models. I mean, hopefully the Votan stuff is maybe gonna change the whole dynamic, where they realise now people just want balance. That's what I've been asking for a while, and they've made strides to have things more balanced. In terms of like the maps, the secondaries, the missions. So maybe if we can just get the codexes a bit more balanced now, we're going to have a great game on our hands. Did you see the FAQ about the League of Votan? I did, Henry, and I'm probably going to make a video on it. We'll probably actually talk. We film for the podcast next Thursday, so we'll maybe just talk over it then. I don't really cover other factions FAQs on my channel, so we'll probably talk over it in the podcast. Have I used my wet palette yet? I haven't taken out the box except for the boxing video combo. I'm gonna use it next time I have some time off work, where I actually have some time to give it like proper care and attention and get some use out of it, right? Because at the moment, like, I'll paint tonight and then I don't know if I'm painting again for a week because work's just been very busy. Whereas, like, if I'm on holiday at Christmas, we get 2 weeks off. So I'm gonna definitely use it over Christmas holiday, that's for sure. Because then at least I feel like I'll get to use it. I'll get to use the paint the following day and stuff, and I'll sort of learn how it works. Whereas right now, I don't feel like I would learn how it works, but. You can't mastercraft a relic item of war gear. Yes, but a relic blade isn't a relic. It's a weird rule. It's a weird subset of a rule, Jimmy, where technically you can mastercraft a relic blade. It just means you couldn't mastercraft a relic, something like Hammer of Baal, you can indeed though mastercraft the relic blade. And that is confusing, but I mean, there's a lot of other confusing rules in Warhammer, I suppose. That's just a badly worded one or something. But you are definitely allowed to mastercraft a relic blade, 100%. I know it would be... Well, I mean, I don't know any... The only person that I know that's got the Votan... Well, I know two people that have got the Votan, which is Tony, that I already do the podcast with, and Andrew, who picks them up because Andrew always buys the most overpowered stuff. I'm wondering actually how Andrew's feeling about it now, because he bought... I think he bought 3 boxes of the Votan. So I don't know what army he was thinking of running, but he obviously had something in mind if he got 3 boxes of Votan. How did Astrath treat me? He was fine. I just don't know if he fits the way that I play. I'll run him again a few times. I think... yeah, I just don't know if he fits the way that I play, I guess. It's hard for me because I've been playing Blood Angels for like... Well, I've been playing them since the 2000s, right? Maybe even before 2000s, probably. And I've always had my way of playing Blood Angels, and maybe it's, you know, it's never been always be charging. But when I played back in the day, always be charging wasn't really a thing. When I started playing in second edition, it was very much rank and file troops, right? Whereas like a Blood Angels army in second edition would be like 5 tactical squads, a Devastator squad, and a Death Company. That would be your army, and then a bunch of characters, because second edition characters were overpowered and broken as all hell. So it meant that like you all like as a Blood Angels army, you always spent a couple of turns shooting the enemy, like 100%. You'd always be shooting the enemy for a couple of turns before any combat happened, and maybe that always just going to influence how I play, and it's how I like when I used to play my friends in second edition. Well, you see how I play them now on stream, right? 80%, 90% of the time I beat them, unless it's Andrew and he's running something crazy OP, right? I'd say like I win 80 or 90% of the games that I play on stream. Occasionally, I guess, new codexes and stuff. You know, I'm going to lose the odd game, right? I'm not infallible. But back in second edition, when I used to play, it was the same. I used to win all the time, and it was with that sort of rank and file strategy where like you spent a couple of turns whittling them down with bolter fire or heavy weapons fire or something, and then you finish them off in combat. I guess that's possibly always going to just I guess I'm always going to see Blood Angels that way, which is a lot different to how a lot of other people might play them. Tulps is finishing his project working on a bike captain. Bike captains are awesome, dude. I love my bike captain so much. He's like he's been my rock through this entire edition. All other characters, monsters, everything has been dropped out my list, but the bike captain has remained true. Blood Angels don't do that old school tactic competitively anymore. Well, I mean, other Blood Angels players don't, but I mean, I keep getting to the top tables of tournaments doing it, Rezio, so I mean, I feel like I am going to win an event at some point. Like, I think it's going to happen. You know, like this event, yeah, I didn't finish in the top. I didn't finish in the top 3, but I finished second on battle points, and if I'd won either of game 1 or game 3, then I was basically finished second, right? So yeah, I mean, maybe I'm not winning, but like, I guess it's, I don't know. I'm not gonna change. I I don't feel like I play as well when I change, so. Maybe I'm stuck in the past. I'm old though, right? When you get old, when you get old, you become stubborn. And I'm getting older tomorrow as well. Very soon I'll be closer to 55 than I am 25. That's scary. Any tips on fighting against custodes? Yeah, focus fire units. Every unit will be a nightmare to kill when you play custodes. They always tend to survive way more than you expect them to. Don't split your units up. Like, commit to kills. So like if you think like your Sanguinary Guard would normally kill one unit of enemy models and you would want to jump your Death Company into another model, don't. Just charge both into the same squad and make the kill. Because far too often against custodes, we don't make those kills and then you end up with like all these little units. Or I lost a game against custodes, I swear, where like Andrew was running around the board with like those Contemptor dreadnoughts. It's the Achilles is the one with the shield, I think, and there's another Contemptor, the Galatus. Sorry, the Galatus is the one with the shield, and the Achilles is the one that's really like quite shooty and is also pretty good with the spear in combat. And I swear he was running around the board with like 2 Achilles on 1 wound and a Galatus on like 3 wounds, and I got absolutely destroyed in that game. Even though, you know, like I'd taken 3 of his dreadnoughts down to like 1 or 2 wounds. So if I just focused a little bit harder, I could have killed 2 of the dreadnoughts. Yeah, 1 of them would have been alive, fair enough, but making the kill on 2 would have been infinitely better than leaving all 3 on like really low wounds. And that's just something to be aware of when you're playing custodes, I guess. You have to be realistic how Blood Angels... Well, I mean, I don't think I'm ever going to win the London GT Rezio. I think there's way more serious players of 40k. I wouldn't even know if they're... Maybe serious players is the wrong thing to say. Like, you know, I've got a family, I get 2 kids, I run a YouTube channel, I work a 9 till 5. I only get so many hours in the day, and I can only get away from the family for like 2 or 3 tournaments a year, right? Like I'm never gonna go to 10 events in a year. Even if I could go to 10 events in a year, I'd miss my kids. Well, if you were born in 1814, yeah, you're definitely the oldest person here. Yeah, I miss my kids just going to work, man. So realistically, I'm not going, like, I think last year I went to 3 events, like 40k tournaments. 2 of them were 2-day events, 1 of them was a 1-day event. This year so far I've been to 2 1-day events and I've got a 2-day event going on. So yeah, I mean I'm probably not going to more than like, honestly I'm probably not going to more than like 4 or 5 events in a year. In the fact that the last 2 years I've done 3 in the last 2 years, or 3. I did 3 in 2020. I did 3 in 2021, and I did 3 in 2022. I've got 1 planned for 2023, but yeah, and it's in January, so maybe I'll do 4. But like, I'm never gonna do many more than 4 or 5 events, so I'm never gonna be the top player, right? So at that point, can I not just run what works for me and score it as well as I can? And I guess that's where I'm at. And I honestly, like, I think maybe my goals now for the channel are a little bit different from what they were when I started, because when I started the channel it was like, I'm going to make tactics videos and I'm going to make everybody that watches the channel know all the strengths and weaknesses of all the Blood Angel stuff, and you know, that's the goal. That was the mission statement. I think the mission statement has changed maybe a little bit on the channel, where like I'm going to make videos that help everybody and I'm going to try and share my knowledge and stuff, but like I think now a big part of the channel is like the community. and I want to involve more of the community. Like, I just filmed a video with one of the channel members, and I'm going to do a Meet the Members series where, like, we can get other channel members on. I mean, you've already been on the channel, Rezio, right? And like, people know, put a face to a name and know who you are. So, want to try and get maybe more of a focus on community. I mean, there's still going to be the focus on, like, winning games and knowing what's best and doing Math Hammer stuff, all the stuff that I continue to do, but, like, rather than just that, maybe add a bit of community to it. I don't know. If people hate that idea, I won't do it, but I feel like in all these streams we always meet all the same people in the chat. Everyone's trying to have a good time, everyone's just talking about the future of Blood Angels, everyone's excited anytime there's new releases. So, like, rather than try and, like, double down on, like, I need to make videos to grow the channel, I'd rather just, like, make videos that the community want to see and makes everybody happy. I think I've said that a few times now. Like, I think it was about this point, because Ospec Tactics originally was an Imperium only channel, you know that, right? You go watch his earliest videos, he was just doing Imperium content, and then I guess at some point he decided, you know, he just wanted to keep going and open it up and just take everybody, or do content for all the chapters. I'm not interested in other chapters. I don't have time to be interested in them with my family and stuff. So I'm just gonna double down and focus on the Angels and focus on the community around the Angels. Cambo doesn't even play Blood Angels, he's just here for the community. What do you play, Cambo? I was convinced you played Angels. Mike says, wife told me I can do an RTT per quarter and 1 GT per year. 2-year-olds really slow down your competitive play. Yeah, that's pretty much where I am, Mike. Where, like, my wife's good, and if I told her I wanted to do two tournaments in a quarter, she would say yes. But at the same time, like, you know, your kids are only young once, you don't want to spend too long away from them, and you also don't want to take the piss. Or at least I feel like I don't want to take the piss. And my marriage is important. You know, if push comes to shove, what's more important, my marriage or YouTube? I guess it has to be the marriage, right? So yeah, I'm just building the community now. You should do an annual tournament on the channel. Do you know what? Some of the other YouTubers do a tournament type. They've what do they call it? Like a fest. A tournament where I was going to say, now I want to make sure that everybody's included. But yeah, I mean, it would be cool. I don't know how to organize that, but maybe one day. Things are going to get ultimately, like, my kids at the moment are 0 years old and 2 years old. And honestly, both of them are getting easier every day. So some point down the line, things might be a lot easier than they are for me right now. But yeah, I'm not really doubting my commitment to the community idea. I'm probably just saying it out loud because that's where I am, and that's probably what I'm going to do, because, you know, I love the Blood Angels and I love the community that we've built here, but, like, I guess, like, if you're asking, you know, like, Rezio's like, you know, if I want to win the LGT, I need to change up my playstyle. Well, I think it would be a miracle for me to win the LGT. I don't think I would. So it's not to say I'll never go to the LGT. Like, I'm sure I'll go some point. I'd like to go to Las Vegas Open some point, but I mean, maybe that's just because I've never been to Las Vegas. So, you know, there's nothing to say that I might not go to some of these big events, but, like, I'm going to change my entire playstyle to try and win them? Probably not. I'm just going to play what I consider enjoyable, and I'll play the way I've kind of always played, I guess, and we'll see what happens, right? Henry says I just play fun lists. Last All-in list I took was a Storm Raven with quad Meltas, transporting a standard Contemptor and a 3-slot Centurions, all with Meltas. Did you win any games with it, Henry? Because, I mean, that's something we definitely haven't seen is Centurions inside a Storm Raven, but I mean, it sounds fun as hell. Christian's always wanted to visit Scotland if we arrange a BAC con. I mean, at some point we're gonna, me, Tony, and Mark are gonna get together at Warhammer Fest. Probably not Warhammer Fest. Sorry, Warhammer World. Probably next year, and we're gonna let people know when we're doing that. So if anyone wants to come along, and you know, grab some food and get a beer and maybe play a game. But I've got no date for it yet. Just something that we might want to do next year. It's really going to just depend on if my wife can handle the 2 kids for a prolonged period of time. Like I said, the kids are getting a lot easier every day, right? We've gone from like 5 tantrums a week to like 1 over the last 6 months, which is nice. Bloodclaw Pack in a Storm Fang gunship really throws off your opponent. Why not Woven? Can Woven go in a Stormclaw? Stormfang? I smacked Mortarion with the Meltas and then charged. That does sound fun, actually. The best players in my local meta haven't had a life outside of 40k. Yeah, I mean, I love 40k. Don't get me wrong, but like I definitely try and have a life. That's why I think the goal for me is to win a GT, and I keep coming close, like as close as you possibly can. So I think if I can win a GT, I mean, winning an RTT would be nice, but you know, I think winning a GT is like a proper like 30 player minimum GT. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to do that in the next couple of years. I've been close. I'll keep trying. I mean, I got a GT in like 6 weeks' time. I'll try again then. JT Money says the best players in his meta haven't had a shower. Oh god, man, that's the worst, is it? I'm always super subconscious at events and stuff that, like, well, I shower every morning anyway, but like at some of those events it can get pretty friggin' humid, can't it? Yeah, no, so I'm glad that you guys seem to understand where I'm trying to go with on the channel, where it's like, it's just going to be, we're going to do more things that include more of the members. And when I say members, I don't necessarily mean paying members. Like, just because someone doesn't pay for the channel doesn't mean that, like, I'd never invite them on to have a talk about Blood Angels. Paying memberships are super appreciated, and it does mean that you probably are going to get priority, but I'm not going to just say like, no, we're not going to include this person in a video or anything like that. But yeah, I really do, like, that's my goal in 40k right now, is to win a GT. If I win a GT, then maybe we can talk about future tournaments, but like a super major. In some ways, I guess the London GT is a super major, right? Like, because there's like 200 people going. So like, if it's a tournament, like any tournament that's over like 50 people, like, I think that's probably beyond me at the moment. I was gonna say maybe if I keep playing at a high level, but the other thing as well is like I only play one game a week. Playing one game a week is probably not what you need to do to win like a super major, right? You need to probably playing 5 games a week, right? And like, I don't think you can play 5 games a week if you have a family. Or not if you want to remain with your family and stay married and that sort of thing. I do love you, Mike, as a broke fella. In terms of member reviews, we used to give members priority. I used to always prioritize members, but I used to spend I used to try and score people's lists, and I don't think there's a whole heap of value in it. So, if you submit a list at the moment, you'll be on the Army List show within like 2 weeks. Worst case, it'll pretty much be 2 weeks. And Steve T, 19 months of membership. Steve, you're a superstar, dude. Thank you so much for 19 months of subscription. That is super appreciated. You've been here since the very start, then. I much appreciate you. Tommy is greetings from Bavaria. I don't know actually where Bavaria is. What country is that? He's about to be a dad of 2 girls. Congratulations, Tommy. I have 1 girl, and she's a handful. So you're going to be good luck, but congratulations. You're going to need it. Daniel, how many kids you got, Daniel? Yeah. It's hard to get 1 game a week, even with just 2 kids, trust me. I always say to my little one, like when I go out to play the game on like Wednesday night, I say to her like, "You be good for mommy." And I come home and just hear from her mum, I was like, "She's been a bloody nightmare the whole evening. She wouldn't go to sleep." And then I go upstairs and I'm like, "Were you good?" She's like, "Yes, Daddy, I was good." I was like, "You were not, you little liar." Is the best way to submit the list still in the community post? Yes, or DM it to me on Discord. The reason I like it DM to me... Yeah, DM it to me on Discord or community tab is the best way. I think even a daughter can show interest in the hobby. My daughter loves coming in here and looking at the little models, dude, and she's only 3. She's at the moment where she wants me to open each paint pot so she can just see the colours of the paints inside them. So she'll ask, like, can we open the gold pot? Can we open the orange pot? So I think she's gonna... I'm actually really keen to get her Legos. I don't know if she'll be interested in Legos, but I want to buy her Legos, and I figure that's like, you know, just getting their minds engaged in like Legos are kind of like puzzles, aren't they? So like get her like, I don't know, something Legos to see if she's interested in that sort of like tactile thing. She can maybe help me paint this backlog, but yeah. Good luck with the birth and everything, Tommy. I've got a 5-year-old, and then my wife has a soon-to-be 15-year-old who plays 40k from a previous marriage when he was very young. Okay, so you're gonna get kid number 3, but I mean you've got a good gap there, Daniel. Mike says my daughter is 3, loves the hobby, watches me paint and rolls dice. Do you know what? I've not actually let her roll dice. That's a nice idea. Carter, thanks so much for hanging out. Nice to see you tonight. Check out My Little Ponies vs Necrons. It's so wholesome. I take it that's a YouTube video, is it? We could do Legos versus Blood Angels. That would get views, right? That actually sounds like a really fun idea. It sounds ridiculous, but it also sounds like something I could do just for fun. Kids love Legos. Yeah, I mean, exactly, like, I loved Legos when I was young. Plus, Lego now is a whole different ball game. You know, when I was young, it was like, here's a generic castle or something. Now it's like, they make Lego everything. It's like, you want the space shuttle that goes to the moon? Yep, we got Lego for that. You want like a Disney castle? We got Lego for that. You want Star Wars or Marvel? Yeah, we got Lego for that. You know, like, Lego it's completely different to when we were young, where you just got like a generic car or something. I'm probably going to have more fun playing with Legos than the kids, to be honest. Lego City terrain map as well. I remember that Lego City map, actually. They make functioning Lego fridges. You know what I saw that they make? You guys have made... Well, some of you are my age, might remember it. The Atari 2600. That was the first games console I ever had. So this would have been before, like, the SNES was even a thing, or the first Master System, which was before the Mega Drive. It was called an Atari 2600, and it basically played like games like Pong. So, like, the simplest video games you've ever seen in your life. And they, you apparently get a Lego Atari 2600, and I think it comes with like 3 games, and I want to say it's like, once you make it, you can play the actual Atari games on it. I don't know, but when I saw it on the website, I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. I mean, the games would be utter dog shit now, but you know, in 1980 something, whenever that came out, 1986, something like that. You know, if you had that in 1986, whoa boy, you're a big deal. Not many people had the Atari 2600. That was the joystick with 1 button. Yeah, because the Master System had an A and B button, and I think, did the SNES have 3 buttons? I don't know, but the Atari only had 1. You had a fire button and that was it. You had a stick and a fire button. Boy, have we come far. Joust was amazing. I don't remember the names of the games, honestly. Like, it was end of the 80s, so I would have been less than 10, and you know, it was 40 years ago for me. I still have a working Atari 520 ST with 1 mega RAM. That's funny, I have an Atari ST 520 with 1 mega RAM because that was the upgrade. It came with half a mega RAM and it cost £30, I think, which would have been a lot if you adjust £30 from inflation back in like early 90s. So it would have been about £70 for a half mega RAM. But that half mega RAM make a big difference. Some of the games crashed quite often if you only had half a mega RAM. So you needed to get that 1 megabyte upgrade. The processor in that Atari, the 520, is an 8 megahertz processor. So if you look at like these new processors, you know, they're 8 cores at 4000 megahertz. This was 1 core at 8 megahertz. So like you're talking like a factor of like Probably like a factor of like 2,000, 3,000 times slower. 3,000 times slower than a modern PC. It's pretty crazy, man. Boy, those were the days. This stream has deteriorated into like the good old days, I guess. But yeah, basically the gist of it is Legos are crazy now. Do I only collect one army, Blood Angels? I used to collect Eldari, Orcs, and Guard, and I traded them all for more Blood Angels because I felt like it was too much. I have other games that I collect for, but I seriously neglect those other games because the YouTube channel sucks up a lot of my time, and when I do play, I typically only play 40k. I was collecting Star Wars Legion, and well, do you know what? I'll show you because I took the plunge and bought the final 2 units for my Legion, but they're still in their cellophane. But I've got them. I've got my final units now. But I'm pretty much finishing up the stream in a minute anyway because it's 20 to midnight, and I don't want to be up too late tonight. I've got work tomorrow. I'll show you the final 2 units I bought, but they're still in their cellophane. I haven't opened them or nothing. Because I'm doing the Rebel Alliance. So I got... Oh, let me move that out of the way. I got the Tom Toms. You get 2 of them in the box, I think. And I got a box of Rebel Veterans, which is just like a friggin' tactical squad, I guess, of Rebels, but you get the little guy with the... like the heavy cannon or something. Maybe that light. No, it's just reflecting badly off the plastic, reflecting off the light. But I did also buy these guys, which are also Rebels, which are like essentially Mandalorians. But I haven't built any of them, I haven't sprayed them. I've had the Mandalorians for honestly a year at this point. But the problem is that I keep doing 40k stuff. I'm always doing 40k stuff. So probably like 5 years from now, if I'm ever finished the 40k stuff, I'll paint some of the Rebels on stream. But I always say that, but I'm miles away from it. Does Star Wars Legion have a cool game mechanic? Yes, it has alternating activations. So what that means is, even if you go first, you can only move 1 unit and shoot 1 unit. And then the opponents will go and they'll move 1 unit and shoot 1 unit. And the way the mechanic works is you have a commander on the battlefield. Let's say you're Rebels, it would be Luke Skywalker. If you're Imperials, it's Darth Vader. And if your commander's too far away from the unit, you can't pick that unit to activate like early in the turn, because obviously your commander's too far away, you can't give orders to them. So it's like a much more skirmish based game where it's important where your commander is. And it's a cool game. I also have up here, I think I can unplug this and show you. Yeah, I'll move this camera, hold on. This might be jonky for a second. Which way up are we? No, this way? Here we go. Yeah, okay. Up here, I've got the starter set for the clones that the clones. And these were bought on like there was a special promo that they did. Yeah, there was a special promo they did, which was like, you got the whole army. you got enough to make a whole army for £100, which was very good. How long does the game last? I think they last like 60 to 90 minutes, but I've not played. I've had it for like 3 years. I haven't played a single game since I started this channel 2 years ago. Yeah, why? I've got heaps of stuff that I don't get to, because all my efforts have gone into Blood Angels now since I started the channel 2 years ago. At some point when the Blood Angels are finished, I'll paint other stuff. We can still talk Blood Angels, I'll just paint something else. You love the Hero Quest from Kickstarter? I haven't played it. I'm going to play it with my kid. But yeah, the Star Wars game's decent. Legion is it's 40k length. I would recommend it. The models seem fun. It's fairly cheap comparatively, because you just make 800 point battles. The battles are a bit smaller. I guess maybe they take just as long though. Anyway, I need to bail. I gotta work in the morning. Thanks for hanging out, guys. I do appreciate it. Appreciate the new member that's gifted by Carter, and also appreciate you guys all hanging out. Hit the like button before you leave. And I got a new tactics video coming out tomorrow. I'll probably be back on Saturday night to paint some more Blood Angels. Give these Death Company a little bit more love. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Thanks again for watching. Nice to see you all. And peace.